It's a company that's pretty much a part of our everyday lives. But have you ever stopped to think about how it all began? We're about to dive into how a super risky idea, born in the garage, grew into this global empire we all know. This is the origin story of Amazon, straight from the pages of the book, The Everything Store.
I mean, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around just how massive Amazon is today. It is hands down the world's largest online retailer. It's a true giant, not just in commerce, but in tech. And it's completely changed the game for how we shop, how we read, even how we use the cloud.
But a company that big doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. The whole story really kicks off with one person, its founder, Jeff Bezos, facing this single, massive, life-altering choice. A decision that would end up changing not just his life, but pretty much the whole world. So that brings us to the first chapter of this wild ride. And it's a classic story, right? A choice between a safe, secure path and a totally risky, uncertain idea. See, Bezos was already doing really well for himself. He had this cushy, high-paying job on Wall Street. But he saw something that most people just weren't seeing yet, this explosive potential in the internet. And that set up this huge career-defining moment. Does he stick with the sure thing, the safe bet, or does he risk it all on this crazy idea to sell books over the internet? And just to give you an idea of how out there this seemed at the time, even his own parents were like, "Are you sure about this?" I mean, it wasn't just a career risk, it was a deeply personal one. A total leap of faith that, honestly, almost nobody in his life got at first. Okay, so he's made the big decision. Now what? The next crucial step was figuring out what to actually call this thing. And believe me, this part of the story is actually kind of funny. So he didn't just pull Amazon out of a hat. The first name he came up with was Cadabra, like abracadabra, but that got scrapped real fast when his lawyer misheard it as cadaver. Yeah, not exactly the vibe you're going for. Then he thought about relentless, but that sounded a little too aggressive. Finally, he hit on the one that just clicked. And this is where you really get a glimpse into how big he was thinking. He picked Amazon because it's the largest river on the planet. It was the perfect metaphor, right? From the very beginning, the goal wasn't just to be an online bookstore. The vision was to be the world's largest bookstore, with a selection as massive and flowing as the Amazon River itself. All right, so he's got the name, he's got the grand vision. Now he needed a philosophy, a set of core principles that would actually power the company's growth. And here it is, the absolute, non-negotiable heart of the entire Amazon universe. Obsess over the customer. Everything, the tech, the logistics, the company culture, it was all built around one simple goal. Give the customer the best possible experience. And a huge part of that was giving them the best possible price. Now, to make that happen, Bezos had this incredible concept he famously sketched out on a napkin. It's called the flywheel. This wasn't just a business plan. It was a blueprint for creating unstoppable momentum. Just think about it, like a really heavy wheel that's hard to get moving at first, but once it starts spinning, it just keeps going, building its own powerful energy. So here's how it works. It's actually genius in its simplicity. Step 1, you lower your prices. That attracts customers. Step 2, more customers means you sell more stuff. Step 3, because you're selling so much, you get this huge bargaining power with your suppliers. And this is the magic part. Step 4, you don't keep those savings as extra profit. You pass them right back to the customer with even lower prices, which, of course, attracts even more customers. And the whole wheel just starts spinning faster and faster. But look, a brilliant strategy like that is totally useless if you don't have a culture that can pull it off. And in those early days, Amazon's culture was defined by one thing: pure hardcore grit. And nothing, I mean nothing, tells the story better than what happened during one of their first holiday seasons. They had just decided to branch out from books and launch a brand new toy store. It was a massive, instant success, which also turned out to be a total disaster. They sold out of everything almost immediately. But you've got to remember that core principle: customer obsession. So instead of just canceling the orders, employees, including Bezos himself, literally ran out to other toy stores, bought the toys at full retail price, and Bezos even maxed out his own personal credit cards, all just to make sure every single customer got their order on time for the holidays. That is what all hands on deck really means. This scrappy, do-whatever-it-takes attitude was so important that it became a core company value: frugality. But this wasn't about being cheap just to be cheap. No, it was a strategic weapon.
Every single dollar they saved on things like fancy offices or perks was a dollar they could use to lower prices for the customer. It was just another push to get that flywheel spinning even faster.
So let's put it all together. You've got the grand vision, you've got this customer-obsessed philosophy, and you've got a culture of pure grit. Let's take a look at what that incredible combination actually built.
What started back in 1995 as just an online bookstore just kept growing, slowly but surely. By the 2000s, they were selling music, electronics, toys, you name it. And today, well, it's not just the everything store. It's a full-blown tech giant, creating world-changing things like Amazon Web Services and the Kindle. It turns out, even a name as big as the Amazon River wasn't ambitious enough.
When you look at the whole journey, it's clear that Amazon's success wasn't some lucky break. It was the direct result of having a really powerful vision and then executing on it with this relentless, customer-obsessed focus. It's just a powerful reminder, that behind every huge success, there's usually a very clear and powerful purpose. Amazon's story really proves how a core philosophy can build an entire empire. So that kind of leaves us with a question to think about. What's the core philosophy that's driving your story?